Hello, welcome. I'm Rachel Archelaus, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy. This is Carrie Roldan, your business BFF, and we are here to talk about alignment. I'm excited. We're taking your questions today. I have a few already submitted, and if you have a question about alignment, manifestation, vibration, please put it in the chat and we are happy to answer it. Also, before we go any further, drum roll please. The Daily Alignment Show is premiering on Monday morning. And you can go to that video, click notify me when it's live so that you remember, because we're all very forgetful these days. So I'm going to put a link to that premiere in the chat. If you are watching this on replay, just go to my main channel. You'll see Daily Alignment Show there. Just click on that notify me button so that you remember to come back, or subscribe to this channel. Click on the bell notification and turn all your notifications on. That way you'll get notified of all of our new shows. The Daily Alignment Show is a morning show to help you get ready for your day, embodied with your higher self. And it's every weekday from Monday on. It's going to be incredible. I really hope you love it. I hope you watch. Right.
Can I say something about it?
Yes. Carrie has previewed it.
I have. I've seen a couple episodes. I mean, I've been a part of like Rachel talking about this and dreaming it up and like thinking about how cool it would be. And then to the process of like figuring out the sort of the like where to do this part in her office and where to do like just the whole creative process has been so fun to be a part of it and or to witness. I haven't really been that much of a part of it. I've been witness to it, and to watch the couple of episodes that I've seen and to see just how cohesive they are, and then how good it makes you feel. Like, I am so excited. I'm excited, obviously, for this to like be out in the world, but I'm so excited to make this a part of my day. That is the most exciting thing. So if you love coming to our live streams, you are really going to love the Daily Alignment Show, because I know why so many of you are here, right? You're here. By the way, Rachel and I said it was sweatshirt day, but the minute we started recording, it got too hot to wear a sweatshirt here. So don't mind me while I pop out of the sweatshirt. But if you're watching this live stream, right, because the result of watching this live stream is you leave in a higher vibration, you leave feeling elevated, you leave feeling more in your truth, then you are going to love the Daily Alignment Show. So no joke, like everyone always says turn notifications on, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be notified by all of these people every time they upload. But turn on your notifications for the Daily Alignment Show, because you will want to be notified every day. You'll want to be reminded to take those few minutes every day and spend them with Rachel and Intimate Alien. It's amazing. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Dale. Yeah, last night I sent out a preview to some very important people and let them see it ahead of time so they could know what's going on and invite their friends and family to watch if they wanted to. So Dale, I'm so glad you loved it. And yeah, Carrie is doing a striptease.
You get a little bit of everything here.
So. Yes, we're well-rounded individuals. Awesome. Hello, C. Good to have you here. So yeah, if any of you have an alignment question, put it in the chat. Let us know. We're happy to talk about it. But we do have a couple that we're going to start off with. If you hear my cat yelling in the background, everything's fine. She went to the vet today. She had sort of, nobody likes going to the doctor. So she's finding her footing after that. Okay. This is something I am not fully capable of answering because I don't have this life experience. So if any of you in the chat can relate to this, please add to this for this person. Okay. Basically, how can you raise your vibration if you are in pain? This person wrote in who has had some chronic pain issues for a few years, and just finds it to be really distracting her from being able to obviously be relaxed, feeling good, feeling healthy and vibrant, right? So I do have some advice, but I don't want to tell you that this is going to help you in every single way, right? Because I haven't truly dealt with this. But I've heard Abraham enough times to talk about the importance of getting present. If you can find the present moment, right? So get in the center of your head. If you know what that means, basically you can imagine that there's like a little dot and it's going into the center of your head through your third eye between your ears. And imagine then that your eyes are moving back to that dot. And so when you open your eyes, you're seeing from the center of your head. Some people also go down through the top of their skull. This is a Jim Self technique. So if you want more on that, search for Jim Self or Mastering Alchemy. And that brings you here into the moment of choice and true observation. And you might feel a relief from your pain in the present moment. I also know that pain is often the physical manifestation of misalignment. And so there might be something you have been avoiding, something that you want to pursue but are embarrassed by or are turning away from for some reason. There might be some trauma that you keep being reminded of, that you keep maybe identifying with instead of transcending, right? I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't want to steer you away from that, but you could also investigate the vibrational source of this pain. And I think above all, hey, TP, come here. Come here. We told everybody about you. Come here, hang out. It's all right. You could soothe yourself through all of this, though, right? So you're not doing anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong to be in pain, but there may be a way for you to find a way out of this pain with self-soothing and looking at your truth, maybe from a less judgmental lens. It can be difficult, right? But this is obviously a challenge you've presented for yourself in order to grow, in order to feel better at some point, hopefully, right? So I think a combination of those things, of getting present, looking at your truth, and then seeing how can you maybe transcend instead of go back into and identify, that could be helpful for you.
I second all of those things. And I think it's hilarious that as Rachel started talking about pain, her cat's like, I'm in agony. um, and I'll share my own experiences with chronic pain. So I have spent years of my life in pain, in like fairly, it's difficult. Okay, here's what I know about myself. I know I have an incredibly high tolerance for pain. I also have an ability to ignore pain for a very long time. So I until like I had years of chronic radiating pain in my hips and down my legs, and then I've had years of knee pain that is like annoying. And I say years, and I know some of you have been in pain maybe for a lot longer, and but like years feels like way too long to be in pain. And yet it was something that I was just like tolerating, like just accepting, just sort of feeling like I had to live with. And I wanted relief from the pain for sure. But what it took for me was working with someone on something else entirely. So I just felt like I needed in order to move forward in my life and my business and my like abundance. I felt really drawn to work with this one particular coach, and she was great. And when she talked about how she could support me, she was sort of talking about like regular coachy things, and then she talked about healing work that she did. And like, I am a believer like Rachel that like we don't need a healer to heal. And yet I was like, yeah, I want that. And this healing work that we did really wasn't about the pain, right? And yet doing that work alleviated all of the pain. I've like recognized going into the places that were painful, I found like um things that were stored there and was able to release them. So I just want to advocate for whatever you are drawn to, for listening to yourself. I didn't go to this person looking for pain relief, right? I went to this person looking for something else, but my intuition drew me there. And pain relief was something that I also wanted, right? It was just something that I had sort of like accepted. Pain was sort of part of my being. So I suppose what I'm saying is listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, trust yourself, go where you are drawn, and trust that everything that you are asking for is connected, right? It's all being given to you. So I don't know if that helps, but my pain is gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully believe that our higher selves have the solution for us. And maybe that was you hooking up with the solution by asking me and Carrie, right? And so the solution's been delivered already. Or maybe we're steering you in the direction of, again, like this is part of the path of you figuring it out. And you'll find someone who you can work with directly, right? So you've got the answers. And I think that's really the most important thing to know is you just need to align to the solution. And even if you are in pain, you're still able to do that, right? I think the other thing is, I know, I know this topic makes it seem like unless you're feeling like, you're jumping up and down every second of the day, you're not going to have a good life. And that's just not true. It's just not true. In fact, satisfied is a pretty low key feeling. It's still a positive momentum. And so, even if you have like moments during the day where you're forgetting about your pain, or even when you're living with your pain, you're able to like bring it with you with joy, like lock arms with it in some way and be like, hey, all right, I guess you're coming with me on this journey. That will alleviate some of the judgment around not feeling good. Because even just judging, I'm never going to get anywhere because I don't feel good. I have this pain, and so I'm not able to align. Those little beliefs can be the hindrance too. So it could be a really small tweak that you make, or it could be something like signing up with a coach or a healer, But again, your higher self will have a solution that will work for you, that you can afford, that will be simple. So I always go back to that too, because sometimes I go to like the most extravagant possible solution, right? But it's like, that's not necessary. There will be something easy that I can do. For me, ease always wins, and I always look for ease. And that is what is available to us, which is great. Well, thank you for your question.
That's a good one. There's something that you were talking about that made me think of, I think you said when, you may lock arms with your pain and like make friends with it before it this is ready to go. And it made me think of, there's that Elizabeth Gilbert quote about, I think it's about fear. Have you heard this?
Maybe.
She just talks about how it's, for her, right? She recognizes that fear is part of her like creative journey. And so she sits it down and she has a talk with it. And she says, listen, from what I gather, like you're part of my ride, right? Like you're part of my journey, and that's fine. She says creativity and I, right? We're going on a road trip together, and I guess you're part of our family, and so you're welcome to come, but you don't get to drive. You can't touch the radio, like, and you have absolutely no say in the direction that we go. And so that might be a loving way to approach your pain at first, right? I guess you're here, but you sit in the back seat. You don't touch the radio. You don't hold the map. Like you just get to come along for the ride. That's when you said that, that felt like a gentle way to accept what is, so that you can move more toward where you want to go.
Exactly. Yeah. Like soothing is a huge component of progress for everybody, no matter what your situation is, because we're always so hard on ourselves. Even me, I don't have like a chronic inner critic. I never have. I mean, of course, I have moments, but I still have to soothe myself all the time. So, yeah, so this is super teeny. She has a sweater on, but she's okay. Everything's fine. Um, she's just coming down off of that overstimulation, you know? All right. This is a continuation of a question that we started answering last week, and it's what if you need to show up to something you don't want to do? This was a question that was sort of tied in with like, how do you remain in alignment and like work for yourself, basically? And I didn't really get to this question, but the truth is like, I don't I don't tend to create situations that I have to show up to where I'm not going to want to show up to it. There's like maybe a handful of times where I've canceled an appointment, like with a client or a class or something like that in my entire life, because I usually synchronicity works in my favor, right? If I'm inspired to make an appointment or have an appointment open on my calendar for someone to book, there's a really high likelihood that I'm also going to be inspired to show up to it when it's ready. So, working for myself, being ADHD, like having true alignment most of the time has not been an issue with me. So I think if anyone's afraid of that, afraid of making commitments because they're not sure how they're going to feel about it in the future, how do you feel about that commitment now? Right? Are you nervous about what you're going to be doing now? Then it's a good likelihood that you're going to be nervous then. But if you're just clearly excited now, if you're feeling good and confident now, you're probably going to want to deliver on whatever that commitment is. Now, there are exceptions to that. And I mention that I was going to teach a live class last week? Yeah. So, yeah, I was going to teach a live class and I was excited about it. And then I just never got re-excited as the planning was really needing to happen. And I had to call it, right? It's not like I didn't show up the morning of and people had already signed up and all that stuff. I called it a few weeks ahead of time and I couldn't find the alignment. And I don't ever force myself because that's not real alignment. And so I just, I made a nice video to the people that I had told I would do this for, and just said, hey, look, this is what's happening. It's not going to go as I planned, but here's an alternative. And so I respect myself enough to do that. And I think that's where alignment comes in. Is we talk about this in the aligned up level, but my only true commitment is to myself. And that might sound selfish, but it is. But I can't deliver anything to anyone else if I'm not whole in that moment. There's no point in me showing up if I'm not really going to be there, if I'm going to be fighting myself the whole time I'm doing something. Nobody wants that. So I respect myself enough to do only what I love and to do what I love as a gift for me and for anyone else. So you can trust yourself and it's okay. Like Carrie and I have actually canceled an appointment together once and we were really, really hesitant to do it. But then of course the other person wrote back, was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really needed this hour to do something else. When you're in your truth, only good things happen, right? Your truth is what's best for everybody. And so whether you go through with something or not, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, Rachel likes to say, if it's best for you, it's best for everyone. And that's super duper helpful. And Rachel, you're talking about saying that you're going to do something and then deciding that you're not going to do it. And that actually just happened to someone who I know. And um, I mean, I could judge her around it. Like she had this big event planned and people had already bought plane tickets and like it was a whole thing. And she just knew it was best for her to not do it. And people can have judgment around it, but I know, right? It was best for me. Like I was involved in that and it worked out like, oh, it felt like kind of a relief for me. Like, oh, good, one less thing that I have to worry about, right? Like it was best for me that she decided not to do it. And those participants who had decided to go or whatever, like we don't necessarily get to know how it's best for them yet, but it will work out to be best for them as well. And so I just wanted to say that. But I feel like this person might be asking about something that they have an obligation to do that they feel like they can't not do. Like it's part of their full-time job and so it's something that they know that they that there is a very real feeling component of have to. So the consequences of not doing it might be I lose my job or I don't know. I can't think of, or if it's a family obligation, right? The consequences of not doing it might be, you know, my sister doesn't invite me to her wedding, or I don't know. There might be like, and I just think that's when it is good to remember that those consequences are still things to consider, right? Like you might lose your job. That might be best for everyone, right? And it's gonna make me yawn talking about it. What has worked for me in the past is just to then get into what I don't want to do this. I'm actually doing something tonight that I don't want to do. I was telling Rachel how much I don't want to do it. And I was like sort of complaining about, oh, there's this thing I don't like about it, and that thing I don't like about it, and this other thing that I don't like about it. And oh my God, I'm gonna have to drive to LA and what a pain, and all these things. Like, I really don't want to do it. Except that I kind of do because there's one thing about it that I'm very excited about, and that is seeing a friend that I haven't seen in a long time. And so that one thing about it, that one like good thing about it is enough for me to be like, do I really not want to do this? Right? Because if I decide I don't want to do it, like nothing bad will happen, except for I won't see that friend. Or are there just lots of things about it that I don't actually like love, but the one thing is overpowering all the other things. So that's how I'm choosing to look at this. That's how I'm choosing to find alignment inside of this, is to be like, I am so aligned with seeing my friend Emma that nothing else matters. And because I can find that place, now all of those other like bad things that I had sort of pre-paved, I can pre-pave something else about like, oh my gosh, what if we like find no traffic? What if the music isn't obnoxious and loud? What if, you know what I mean? Like I can choose a different route. And so a lot of times, like the thing that we feel like we have to do is because we think that we're not going to like it. But could you pre-pave an alternative way for that thing to be? So
Yeah, I know. So obnoxious of me to say, but I can't even remember having to do things I don't want to do. But no, I worked most of my life in jobs where I wasn't the boss. And yeah, it's about like mind games and to a degree, like what do you like about it and can you focus more on that than what you don't like? But aside from that, aside from like, can you delegate things? Can you negotiate things off your plate that you don't like? How can you how can you align to a better situation? How can you so I'm not a proponent of just up and quitting your job or like getting fired to, have some catalyst. I think that's a little too jarring to our systems, right? If we go into panic, we're not going to find alignment that easily, right? But you can align to the solution while you're still doing the things that you don't really want to do, so that the solution is delivered to you, right? We attract everything anyway. So if you keep your focus on the things you don't like, you're going to keep attracting what you don't like. But if you can keep telling yourself, oh, that's what I want, it's even higher. It's going to feel a little weird to align to it in the beginning. It reminds me, Guillaume, of your color for weirdness. Aligning to the thing you really want, even in the same situation, right? You're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel happier. And then a better solution can actually land at your feet, a job opportunity, money from a different avenue, other ideas, people. It does happen, but you need to align to it in order to let it in. So, you know, when I was working at a publishing company, at the end, it really wasn't what I wanted. It was for many reasons. Um, Even just the timing, it was second shift. So I worked like 4 to midnight, which, it's not totally ideal. And I started going in and just thinking to myself, oh, this is my company. Actually, at the time, it was my quilt factory. So I was the boss and I would walk in and everyone who worked there was my employee. And it just put a smile on my face. It was my little inside joke. I didn't tell anybody about it. It wasn't like I didn't change my attitude, but it was an inner thing. And it really helped me. Because that job I did end up leaving to start my Kindle company full time. And that was really cool, like really, really cool. And a lot of those people inside of that job did end up working for me eventually in a different capacity. So you are absolutely an unlimited being, absolutely unlimited. You're never, ever, ever stuck. It can feel like we're in a situation we have to be in, but that's never the case, right? Don't leave in a panic, but let something else come to you by aligning differently, by pre-paving, by using your abilities as a creator.
I love that because that can be as simple as like, what would it feel like if I didn't have to go to this meeting? What would honestly like I had a meeting this week that I was like, there was something I really wanted to go to, and somebody else had scheduled themselves in my calendar at that time. And I was like, oh, I really, too bad, like it would have been great to, I was just aligning to like, oh, it would have been really good to go to that thing. And like, but I was fully expecting like, well, this client has booked. I like this client. Like, it was like, but I allowed myself to be a little disappointed about like, oh, I can't do the thing that I really want to do because I have this other thing to do. And it would have been so great to be there. Like I gave myself a moment of like, oh, I bet it's going to be amazing. Like I let myself feel into the good thing about it. And then that was actually the night before I realized I had the conflict. And then I woke up the next morning and the client had canceled and rescheduled. And so like that time opened up in my calendar simply because I wanted it to. And because I had spent just that little bit of time being like, oh, that thing I'd rather do instead. Oh, it's good. It's like not like being mad about it, just like, oh, but it's going to be amazing. And maybe I'll do it next month. And then things aligned for me. So could be as simple as that. I see Dale's question, but do you have another one from email?
No, we can go to Dale. I do have another question, but it really aligns with Guillaume's. And so we'll do Dale's first and then go to Guillaume's question.
Okay. So Dale. Okay. Dale says, I've got a question. How to align to hear from loved ones who have gone on? She says heat from, but she clarified later. So this is a great question. So I will let Rachel, the medium, start the answer.
Okay. Yes. Love this. I want to point out that I do have a video on this channel of 5 different ways that you can do to communicate with your loved ones who have passed on. And so if you search for that, you can find that. Or Dale, let me know and I can email it to you later on. Everyone can do this. I used to teach this. It's very possible for anyone to learn. Definitely, though, you use the right word, and that you need to be able to align to them. And your loved ones who have passed on are high vibe flying beings. And so if you're in a place where they're newly departed and you're really sad and really depressed and you're searching for them and you feel like they're gone, it's going to be harder to communicate with them. Not impossible, but harder. I've actually been doing quite a number of medium readings lately because a lot of my friends are dealing with this thing right now where people are moving on. And it's really terrible to be in that position where you are here and your loved ones are non-physical and you can't find them. So, give it time, right? It's really important to grieve and feel your feelings and don't rush through that process. But if you can find moments of relief and clarity and alignment with the happiness, the memories, right? All of the good bits about them, then you're much more likely to be able to have communication. And so, what is the easiest way to hear them is expect to hear from them, meditate regularly so that you are giving yourself a break from resistance and a break from the I miss them. You can't miss them and talk to them at the same time. So do that, meditate, give yourself a break and watch the video I made because there's intuitive art that you can communicate with them. There is, telepathy, which everyone is kind of like thinking about. But there's also a whole bunch of other ways. I don't even remember off the top of my head, but it's a really good video.
Something that works well, so a couple things work for me. Um, Although I will say it's probably easier for me to connect with other people's loved ones than my own, right? For that same reason about like missing them. But a few things. One, asking for dreams. That is an easy way because I'm like before I go to bed, like asking for them to visit me in my dream. And then when I'm in my dream state, I'm a lot less resistant. So that has helped. It hasn't worked every time, right? And so, but that I've been able to do that. And the other thing is just asking for signs, right? So like my neighbor, it's like every time I find coins, I think of him and then I feel connected to him. And I feel like he leaves coins like when it's a wink from him, you know? And that's just like an easy way, to ask for a sign or a symbol or something, and see what comes up. It At least for me, it's one of those things. It's not like I can actually, that's not true. I can actually hear him. But initially, like it wasn't that I could hear him when I found the coins. It would just help me think of him and help me think of him fondly. And then that sort of like activates the like connection. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a skill I hope we all practice because non-physical beings are still beings and they still contain the personality that you know and love. And yet there's so much more to them too. And I know that can be scary. You don't want there to be more to them. You want them to be the exact same person that you knew. But it's so uplifting. It's so uplifting to know them as they are now and really worthwhile. So, yeah, I just plugged that 5 ways to communicate with your passed on loved ones video in the chat. So if anybody wants to take a look at that, you can do that later, of course, because you're watching a live stream. But yeah, this has been really fun. All right, Guillaume, and for probably everyone else too. What a good question. Let me find it. How do I align to receive a lot of money? And I will say the other question that's very similar is I'm feeling good, aligning and meditating, but no money comes. Okay, so if anyone can relate to that, I mean, there's definitely been times where I can too. So here's the thing. Your vibration is where you last left it. And with money, because it's such a big part of our lives, we look at it all the time, right? So we're reminded all the time whether we have enough, not enough, or too much, right? I don't know if most people would say they ever have too much money. So usually we're having offhand comments to ourselves about lack. We're probably not even noticing, right? We probably think, yeah, I feel good. Yeah, what's wrong? Like, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. Why isn't the money coming? And so I think aligning to abundance is worthwhile. It is, in fact, week 2 of the daily alignment show is abundance week. So definitely put your notifications on so you don't miss that. But aligning is not necessarily enough if we keep our limiting beliefs going at the rate they're going at now. And so, what is the antidote? It's calibrating. Calibrating. So, once you're already feeling good, don't check your bank account that day. Just decide to feel good instead and then calibrate and try to make it really personal. Think about what could you possibly be continuing to think that keeps you in lack? Even though I still haven't moved out of my parents' home, I know it's coming and I know everything will be okay. Even though I'm not as successful as I wanted to be at this age, it's coming. There's a lot of late bloomers in this world, and I'm going to be one of them. I'm going to bloom really soon. Even though it seems like money doesn't like me and it runs in the opposite direction, I can change that relationship. I can become more friendly to money so it wants to come in, right? What is it that you keep thinking about that you feel is sending your money momentum in the wrong direction? And you don't have to spend a ton of time here because you'll know. You'll know what you think about. I know what I think about. Um, I usually, for me, it's like coming to a conclusion because that's what was in the past. Like, for example, I am doing this new show on YouTube. My YouTube channel does make money, but not a ton of money. And so I found myself thinking like, oh, it's going to be a long time before the show is able to support me fully. That's a lack thought. I don't need to think that. So if you have been aligning enough, if you have been meditating, feeling good, you'll be able to hear those thoughts when they go through your head. So you're not going to have to search around too much for these limiting beliefs, but you want to catch them in the moment or catch them in your calibrating so that you can turn them around and decide how you want it to be. But don't get too ahead of yourself, right? Like for me, you know what? Anything can happen on YouTube. Anything. I'm inviting a lot of people to watch this and share it. People really are probably going to love it. This can take off so fast. This can go viral. This can be an overnight success because I put in so much love into this project, right? So, how do you want it to be? And how is it in your head? You want to make sure that you are creating the situation that you want.
I saw an Instagram reel or a TikTok or something that was saying, what do you think is more important? To think positively or to stop thinking negatively? And, there's a lot of stuff on the power of positive thinking and all of this, but whoever I was watching said, no, like statistically, like the power of positive thinking isn't nearly as important as the stopping of the negative thinking. And that I feel like is the meditating, right? The catching the lack mentality, and the relaxing. And then I think about, I watched, I don't know, a video. I've always got random stories. I saw this one time, right? People must think all I do is just like watch random crap, which is fine. You guys can go ahead and think that. But I saw a story on Chelsea Handler, who is a pretty famous comedian and apparently does quite well. And she talked about how when she was younger, she just knew. She knew she was going to be successful. And she did not have that thing that a lot of us have that says, like, I can't do this yet because I'm not successful yet. And so she would just act as if, but not from a place of like faking it. Just like, I don't need to worry about this because I know I'm going to be successful. And sure enough, right? That came to be reality. And so I think about that often because I catch myself in lack as well. Like I find myself knowing, knowing, like things just keep getting better and better. This whatever this thing that is lack right now is not really like in the grand scheme of things. Like it's not really a big thing. Like I'm able to do that, and I still catch myself making decisions from an old mentality, right? I still catch myself, I don't know, like not buying the milk that's 50 cents cheaper even though I like the other brand. Like I still catch myself doing stuff like that. And as long as I'm course correcting, right? As long as I'm course correcting, I'm on the right path. So I think there's so much I want to say to you, Guillaume, which is just like give yourself a break, relax. Like you are so abundant. Oh, it's making me yawn. And more, and more, and more, and more abundance is coming to you. And this is the hardest thing to hear. Stop looking at it.
You know, I love stories of successful people, especially for me, creators, um, musicians, artists, writers. And in the stories that I really resonate with, I found a through line, which is that people who create what they want, their art, they create their art before anyone's looking, before they have a big paycheck. They do it because they love to do it and keep doing it. Those are the most successful artists, because when it comes time for people who are looking at them, or the bigger opportunities, they're already comfortable and confident in what they're able to create, and they already know their style. They've figured out all the things they need to figure out. I love Mindy Kaling's story. Do you know how she got started? She created an off Broadway play about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck with her friend, and like they were playing the guys, and somebody found them, and then she got to audition to be a writer on The Office because of that. Like she made what she wanted to make, right? And I love the South Park people who were just like slumming it in someone's living room for years, creating some animation, and then finally got the Comedy Central show, which I think is still on. It's been like 20 years plus or something like that. So there's so many more examples, but like whenever I think about my life, I like to think about I want to create things that make people feel something. Whenever I go to a concert that's really amazing, or like witness somebody else's art that moves me, I'm like, that's why I'm here. I'm here because I'm an artist. I'm a creator of my life, but a creator of things. Not everyone's going to relate to that, and that's cool. But like, that means I need to create things. That means I need to do my art. And that for me feels like abundance. And if that feels like abundance, that means it will bring abundance. But I don't need to micromanage that. And if, I've been in situations plenty of times where I had a job and then made my art. Right now, it's sort of like that. The art that I make, I do make some money off of like my books and my paintings, and the show that I made, I feel like is my art as well. And yeah, it's going to support me a little bit, and eventually it's going to support me a lot of it. I'm not done yet. I'm not dead yet, right? So there is such a big component to this life for us, if you're here, about doing what's in your heart. What are you called to do? What are you compelled to do? Whether or not that's going to pay your bills right away or not, don't be discouraged by that. Please find a way to do what's in your heart, and it will catch up with you eventually.
Amen to that. And this is the best part. Even if it never paid you, it would still be worthwhile and fulfilling. Like, the cool thing is that it also eventually pays you.
And it pays you because we live in a vibrational, attractive universe. And if you are doing what you love, that will find you in a physical way. That's what alignment is.
Alignment questions. I'm totally aligned with eating lunch while we're on.
I didn't even notice. I love it. Yes, eat.
I got hungry. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if you guys have any more alignment questions, put them in the chat. But I have a juicy alignment question for you, Rachel, because I see these buzzwords lots of places, and I just want to address them. The law of attraction doesn't work, or why the law of attraction is insufficient, or if the law of attraction isn't working for you. And so I thought I would just ask you to talk about that a little bit, this idea of the law of attraction is only part of the real secret. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like the law of gravity is only part of the secret. Like, the law of gravity is not working for you. Like, what are you, floating around like 3 feet above the ground all the time? It just is. Like, the law of attraction is physics. It's the physics of our universe. And the physics of our universe doesn't change. So, and it doesn't treat anyone differently. And so, if the law of attraction isn't working for you, it's because you haven't figured yourself out yet. You don't know where your vibrational set points are for each topic. Because if you think about it, right? If you think about friendships, feel how your body feels about friendship. Maybe it's open and light and, loving feeling. But then if you think about money, how does your body feel about money? Is it a little denser, a little bit more contracted, right? Your vibrational set points for each of those topics is different. And so we have a vibrational mix within us that gives us very mixed situations and experiences on this physical plane. But we don't fix that on the physical plane. We fix that vibrationally because it's the vibrations that create the physical. I think I was prompted about 3 weeks ago to come up with the biggest misconception in my industry, right? My industry, I guess, is wellness, well-being. And I think the biggest misconception is that it's complicated. Oh, wow. Take a deep breath, guys. It's not complicated. It's not complicated because the law of attraction makes it so uncomplicated. What's complicated is that we think it needs to be complicated. It's all about how we feel. It's all about our vibrational set point. What happens when you forget about everything and you feel good for a day? Really good freaking things happen because you're letting it in, because your vibration matches good things all of a sudden. What happens if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Your whole day is ruined, right? Why? Because you're stopping the good things from coming in because your mood, your vibration is lower than normal. And so it's simple. Feel better. If you can't feel better on certain things, feel better and then calibrate those certain things. But most of all, you can just ask yourself, what is the better feeling choice right now? What is the better feeling choice right now? How you feel matters. It matters. And when it matters to you, your life will improve greatly. And then you can fine tune everything else, which is what I do as an alignment coach with Carrie. So if you want to work with us, let us know. Reply to anywhere. We'll get in touch with you. Reply to an email I sent you. Go to rachelarchelaus.com/coaching. You can find our page there. Yeah, it's simple.
I just want to add to that there are certain people. I got this from John Maxwell, but there are two kinds of people. There are lifters and there are leaners. The lifters are the kind of people when you're around them, you just feel better. And there are leaners, and you can tell who they are because like they literally like kind of pull you down, right? Like just being around them, and you feel like anybody who has small children, like actually they're like, it's right around age 12 or whatever when they suddenly just like lean on you all the time, like go, like they don't want to walk just side by side, they have to like kind of like pull on you. Anyways, I digress. There's a feeling of like being around people who either lift you up or pull you down, and there are certain people who, I just need to spend time around them, right? Like I just need to be in the same room with them. There's something about being around that person that lifts me up. So one, like that's sort of a recognition of like, oh, are you one of those people, right? Are you the kind of person that people feel good when they're around them? But the other thing is to pay attention to where your vibration is, right? We are, I'm yawning again. Surround yourself with other people who are committed to living high vibration. Put yourself in the room with the people who make you feel good, right? Because chances are speaking a different language. They're talking about vibrational things. They're focusing on the positive. They're dreaming out loud. Like those are the kind of people who you want to spend time around. And if you're having a hard time getting your vibration high, you might notice that you're spending time around people who are complaining a lot or pointing out what isn't working or like doing all those things. And so, yes, ultimately, what you do on the inside matters the most. And make it easy on yourself. Surround yourself with other people who are doing it.
And that happens when you value how you feel, because all of a sudden you'll recognize those people who are leaning on you or who are just complaining in the room. It's really funny how much your life can change when you start that, because the amount of television I watch now is so minuscule because most of it is so violent and like wild and emotionally manipulative. It's just like crazy. Like, why would I put myself through that voluntarily when I want to feel good? Right. So it's not a judgment. I love that people are making their art and that's what it happens to be. I just notice like I don't particularly feel good when I take that in, and so I don't anymore. Your life will change as you value yourself more. If you want to be around people who value themselves and remind you of all these things and who will calibrate with you and support your dreams with you, you can join our group coaching at intuitiveart.com/membership. You can join monthly, no commitment, for less than the cost of my gym, or you can sign up and save some money for 6 months. It's a really great place and people really love it.
So I'm sure there's someone else has trademarked this, but I was just about to say it's a total high vibe tribe. And then I was thinking
Yeah.
someone has probably trademarked that, but it really is.
Yeah. I also want to thank for a moment our supporters. We do have a channel support system now. If you look at the link below, the Buy Me a Beverage, you can actually sign up to be a 5, 10, or $50 member and get some awesome perks. The newest perk at the $50 level is Intimate Alien will send you a custom message video each month to your email. So a message just for you. But even at the $5 level, you get your name in our videos at the end. So I just want to say thank you, everybody who has already signed up for that. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us and doing what this channel is accomplishing and helping you feel better and helping you align to what you want, helping you be a better creator. So thank you.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll end with this. We'll end with Dale. Loving the reminder to feel good about whatever and then let it come in everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I love too. Like, we don't have to micromanage our outer world. What we really need to pay attention to is all in here. When we do that and we choose ourselves, we choose feeling good, we are going to be surprised and delighted because our world is going to show us all these amazing things.
Yeah. Amen to that. It really does, you guys. It just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And I know you just said you're ending, but I want us to think about that because sometimes we forget how much better our lives are than they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just forget because it's a mixed bag, most of us, right? So some things in our life feel better, maybe other things feel less better, but like on the whole, things just keep getting better and better and better and better. And I think about like, would I ever want to go back to high school, for instance? No, my life is so much better, right? Like my life
Hard
is so much
pass.
better. You didn't love high school, but I loved high school, right? But like my life is so much better now, right? I wouldn't go back. And that's sort of the thing, right? Is like just remember it is getting better. It is getting better and better and better and better. So where are you going to put your focus?
And you know what is also cool? I'm devoted to feeling good, doing only what I love. And sometimes you think like, okay, I'm meditating, I'm aligning, I'm calibrating, I'm grounding, I'm geometrying, I'm doing all the things. Great, I feel good. And then just when you think that's it, another level comes in, another high, another amazing feeling that you didn't even know was there. And so this never stops. It never, ever stops getting better. And that is worth it. That is cool.
Rachel always says, you don't know how good you can feel. You don't know.
And it can keep getting better and better and better and better. So soothe yourself. You're never in a wrong place. You've never done anything wrong, but keep going forward.
So on that note, you guys subscribe to Rachel's channel. Yes. Turn on your notifications if they're not on, because you are going to want to watch that daily alignment show every day. I promise you. I'm only 2 episodes in and I want to watch it every single day. So you are definitely going to want to watch that. And then on the show today, we shared 2 different ways that you can work with us. You can coach with Rachel and I privately, and or join our coaching group. With no groping involved, just group. You can join our coaching group and you'll be surrounded. You'll be surrounded by your high vibe tribe. So whatever feels right for you, take the action.
Yep. And if you're too shy to come to meetings, that's okay. We have a lot of members who just watch the replays. They still get value out of it. So however you want to show up is fine with us. Well, we love you. We're very excited to see you. And we'll see you next week. And maybe you'll see me at Intimate Alien Monday morning. Or whenever you feel like watching it, because you can watch it at any point.
It's so good.
All right. Well, we love you guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.